right, everyone, so I want you to go ahead and put everything away right now, and I just want you to listen real closely to this song. All right. So can anyone tell me who that very famous composer is, that very popular song? Beethoven. Very good. And when you're listening to that song, and if you were to think about the things we've been learning that are on our musical word wall, what kinds of things do you hear in that song? Crescendo. Very good. What else? Forte. It definitely gets loud at times. Very good. What else? Diminuendo. It also gets soft at some points. Very good. So since we've kind of been learning about the dynamics of songs and the tempo somewhat, now we're going to take a look at the rhythm in a song. Can anyone tell me what rhythm is? Staying on beat. Very good. Go ahead and get out your journals. We're going to add this to our musical list of words. The word rhythm. I'll go ahead and write it up here. This also might come up in your vocabulary. So this is a very good word to write down. So we're going to write down rhythm as a strong, repeated pattern of sound. So you have strong, repeated pattern of sound. All right, and can anyone tell me why rhythm is important? It's important to stay on beat. Very good, because without rhythm, that song that we just listened to might sound like this, right? It's not very, doesn't make you want to keep listening to it, right? Because music all around you has constant patterns and it flows, and without the rhythm, it's not going to flow. Now, I just want to say, rhythm is harder for some than it is for others. Even me, I play a little bit of the guitar, as you guys know, and rhythm is something that is very, very hard for me to get used to, and the only way that I can get used to it is by practicing rhythm. So that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to learn some simple rhythmic patterns, and then we're going to practice those, and then at the end you're going to have a chance to come up with your own rhythmic patterns. And it's very important that you stay involved throughout this lesson, because I am going to be keeping track. I want you collaborating with each other, because at the end you are going to work together, and it's very important that you pay attention, because these can be a little bit tricky. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to start with a quarter note. So a quarter note kind of looks like a D, but it's filled in. So your quarter note is going to look like this. It's going to be a filled in, a colored in D. So this is your quarter, and your quarter note has one count. And so if we were to clap a quarter note, we would just have one. So everyone clap. Good. And we're also going to use words to help process these beats in our head. So we're going to use the word ta. So everyone say ta, ta. Good. So now let's clap and say ta, ta. So that's your quarter note count. One count, and you're going to say ta. Good. So next up we have a half note. A half note note definitely looks more like a D. And your half note is going to have 2 counts. So if we were to clap our half note, we would have 1, 2. So we have to hold it for a 2. You don't clap twice, because then you would have 2 quarter notes. So you just clap and hold for 2 counts. Now if we use our sound, we're going to use ta, because again, we're holding it for 2 counts. So let's clap it and say ta. Good. Our third beat that we're going to do is a whole note. Looks kind of like a sideways oval. This is going to be our whole note. And I do want you to be writing these down in your journal if you're not already. And your whole note is going to have 4 counts. So if we were to clap it, we would say 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you're just holding that clap for 4 counts. And if we say it, we're going to have a ta. So let's clap it and say it. Ta. Good. All right, and our final beat is going to be an 8th note. This one's a little bit more tricky. So an 8th note by itself is going to look like this. It kind of looks like your quarter note with a little extra flag at the end of it. So this is going to be your 8th note. This note by itself has a half a count. So if you were to clap it, it'd be a real quick. It wouldn't even be a whole clap. It'd just be a quick. And if we say it, we actually use the word T because it's shorter. So we can't hold out a ta, just a T. Now, for the sake of what we're learning and what we're doing, we're going to see these 8th notes in 2s together. Now there is music out there that uses them by themselves and even with more than 2, but that's much more complex and you will learn that much later on. But for the sake of what we're doing, we're going to use them as 2s, and this is how they look together. So you're going to have a half and a half, and if you remember from our math, 1/2 plus 1/2 makes 1. So together these will make 1 count. And we're going to say T, T. All right. Everyone got those written down? Good. So let's go over this again. Let's clap and say we have a quarter note, ta. We have our half note, ta. We have our whole note, ta. And then we have our 2 8th notes, T, T. Let's do that one again. T, T. Good. All right, so right now we're going to practice some rhythmic patterns, and I'm going to help you through these. So, actually, let's start with this one. Well, we'll do these ones today. All right. So this first one, you have a quarter note, 2 8th notes, and then 2 more quarter notes. So if we clap these, we have 1, 2, and 3, 4. If we say these, we're going to have ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Let's try that singing and clapping together. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Good. Our second one, what do we have? A half note. Very good. And how do we clap that? We hold it for 2 because it's 2 counts. So we have ta, ta, ta. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll write these above here so you guys can remember the words too. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And then this one was ta, ta, ta. Good. So now what do we have down here? Our whole note. Very good. And how many counts does our whole note have? 4 counts. Very good. So if we clap that one, what do we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. And And then if we were to say our ta, it's gonna be our ta. Very good. Let's clap and say it. Ta. Good. Now this one gets a little more tricky. We have 2 eighth notes, 2 eighth notes, and a half note. So if we say these, we have our T, 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 and our ta. So let's clap. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Because we use the and for the eighth note since it's got to give us one whole, since there's 2 of them, it's got to give us one whole count. So we're going to say T, 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 ta. Everyone say that? T, 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 ta. Good. All right. So now we're going to move into same kind of practice, except now I'm going to give you the beat and you're going to give me the notes. So these are going to be simple practices. I'm not going to make you do anything complex. So go ahead and get out your whiteboards and your markers. And I'm going to play for you a couple rhythmic patterns. And you are going to write on your whiteboards what each of those are. So I'm going to have these up for you so that you can remember how to draw each of them. And remember, I'm only using the eighth notes together. I'm not going to use this by itself because it's a little too complex. So make sure when you hear the short sounds, it's 2 of them together. All right, so are you all ready? I'm going to start with our first one. Oops, let me start over with our first one. All right, go ahead and write down. Take a minute or so to write down what that is. I'll play it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see your whiteboards when you have it. Very good, good, good. All right, so should have drawn, actually, yes, I'll show you. Should have drawn 4 quarter notes. I told you, that one's super simple. Moving on, so I'm just going to draw a line next to each pattern so have a divider there. All right, so our next pattern is going to be this. Listen close. Oh, if I could get the notes right. All right, so listen to that again. I'll say it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and write down on your note on your whiteboards what you think that pattern is. Play it one more time. 2, 3, 4. Good. Good. Very good. So for that one, we had 2 half notes. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Here's our next one. The tricky one. One more time, I'm going to count it and say it, and play it. This time I'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see when you have it. Good, good, good. So for that one we have our whole note. Very good. All right, and for the final one, this one's gonna be a little bit more tricky. Listen close. And play it again. I'm gonna play it and count it. 1 and 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Anyone got it? Oh, you're close. Good. Oh, very close. All right, so for that one, you heard a quick in the middle, in the beginning. So we have our 2/8 notes, and then it was 1 count, and then it held 2 counts out. So it was a 2/8 notes, a quarter note, and a half note. Very good. All right, so erase your whiteboards and put them away. For our final activity, you guys are gonna work with groups, and you're gonna do just what I did here. You're gonna come up with 4 different rhythmic patterns, and each section is gonna add up to 4 counts. So that's what we've been doing this whole time, is each of our little patterns have been 4 total counts. So just, even though you have 1 note here, it has 4 counts. So I don't want 4 notes, I want 4 counts in each section. So you're gonna work with your groups to come up with these different patterns. And then together as a group, you're gonna present them to the class, and you're gonna either use, you can use anything. You can clap them, you can use the taws and the tees, you can use your desk as an instrument, or you can use your feet and stomp. So I want you as a group to be creative, come up with your own patterns, and then I want you to make sure that you are showing us that you understand that you're coming up with 4 beats 4 different times. So you're gonna have a total of 16 beats. All right, so get with your groups right now, take a few minutes, and then at the end, you're gonna present these to the class. Your classmates are gonna share with you what they think of your rhythmic patterns, and then we're gonna be done for the day. And like I said, I'm keeping track of how you've been participating, so make sure that's how you're getting points. There's nothing you're gonna be turning, well, your group will turn in your musical pattern before you leave today, because I wanna see what you guys came up with, even though you are presenting it. So, but mostly I'm looking for participation, and then I'm gonna check as you leave today to make sure your group really understood. If you're still having a little bit of trouble understanding, make sure you let me know. And I've kind of been keeping an eye out, so I'll probably come talk to you to make sure we're all on the same track. So, all right, go ahead and get started and come up with those beats.